This series begins by showing Oh Won-soo, a beautiful woman who runs the Now Foundation, the biggest charity in Korea, which belongs to her in-laws. Even though she came from a poor family, Won-soo worked hard and became part of a rich family. She helps people all around the world and is known as the Angel of Charity. One day, Won-soo traveled to Manila, Philippines, as a Goodwill ambassador. There, she gave a speech at the World Welfare Institute and met with important people to talk about her foundation's work. During a meeting, her secretary, Yoo Soo-jung, told her that she got an email from a terrorist group threatening her life. Soo-jung advised Won-soo to cancel all her plans in Manila for her safety. However, Won-soo couldn't cancel some important plans. She had a short interview with a local journalist and a meeting at a hotel with a rich person from the Middle East who wanted to donate money to the Now Foundation for helping people. At the same time, a Korean man named So Do-yoon arrived at the same hotel where Won-soo was having a meeting. Do-yoon used to be a police officer in Korea, but he left the police a few months ago and came to Manila for personal reasons. At that time, Do-yoon went to the hotel casino, which was very busy, and he focused on a group of gangsters who ran the biggest illegal business in Manila. He followed them to the bathroom, where he overheard them talking about a hitman named Mr. L. This hitman had killed a Korean policeman and was now in Manila for another assassination mission. Hearing this, Do-yoon remembered when his friend and fellow policeman, Shin Joo-hyuk, was killed by Mr. L during a mission in Manila. Turns out, Do-yoon came to Manila to find Mr. L and get justice for Joo-hyuk. In that moment, Do-yoon disguised himself as a repairman to get into the gangster boss's room. There, he saw Park Kyung-joo, the head bodyguard of the Wayne Group, and it's owned by Won-soo's in-laws, giving a bag of money to the gangster boss. From the conversation, Do-yoon realized that Kyung-joo was the one who ordered Joo-hyuk's killing. Later, Do-yoon got a call from Kyung-joo, who used to be his boss in the police. Kyung-joo asked to meet Do-yoon after finding out he was in Manila. Do-yoon remembered the night when he couldn't save his friend because Mr. L attacked them before they could catch him. Determined to find the person who ordered the hit on his friend, Do-yoon planned to go to the place where Mr. L was supposed to carry out his next assassination. The next day, Do-yoon went to a building where Won-soo had a meeting. Just as Won-soo got out of her car, Mr. L, who was hiding with a sniper, started shooting at her. Do-yoon didn't know Won-soo, but he tried to protect her because her bodyguards were already shot. He used a fountain to block Mr. L's view, then quickly took Won-soo into a car and drove away from the city. When they reached the outskirts of town, Won-soo, still scared, asked why Do-yoon saved her since they didn't know each other. Do-yoon said he was just passing by and happened to be there. Soon after, he found a GPS device in the car, which he threw away so no one could track them. Unsure if the Manila police would help, Do-yoon decided to take Won-soo to his place. In his simple apartment, Do-yoon treated his wound and asked Won-soo to call someone she trusted to pick her up at the embassy. Unfortunately, Won-soo didn't remember any phone numbers, not even her husband's or brother's. So, Do-yoon planned to take Won-soo to the Korean embassy in Manila. Sometime later, Won-soo's husband, Young-guk, came to pick her up at the embassy. Young-guk was relieved to see his wife safe and asked her to cancel the fundraising party she was planning. Even though Young-guk was trying to be caring, Won-soo didn't really pay attention or listen to him. She stayed silent during the trip back to the hotel. Meanwhile, Kyung-joo, who checked the report from the embassy, found out that Do-yoon was the one who saved Won-soo. Kyung-joo met Do-yoon to thank him and offered him a job as a bodyguard at Wayne Group after learning that Do-yoon was working odd jobs since leaving the police. That evening, Do-yoon thought about Kyung-joo's offer. To get revenge for Joo-hyuk's death, Do-yoon decided to accept the job. He felt he couldn't betray Joo-hyuk, who had been his best friend since they were teenagers. Joo-hyuk had even donated a kidney to Do-yoon, making him feel deeply grateful to his friend. The next day, Do-yoon met Kyung-joo again and told him he would take the job as a bodyguard at Wayne Group. Meanwhile, Won-soo had an argument with her mother-in-law, Park Mi-ran, who wanted Do-yoon to bribe the Chinese embassy to help Wayne Group's business deal with a Chinese company. There, Won-soo refused because she didn't want to ruin her good reputation by doing something wrong. Later, Won-soo talked to Young-guk about the bag of money that Kyung-joo brought. She suspected that Mi-ran had asked Young-guk to influence the Chinese embassy. A few moments later, Won-soo held a press conference about the attack she experienced and blamed a terrorist gang for it. Even though she was the target, Won-soo said she would continue her humanitarian work as usual. Unexpectedly, Won-soo's press conference made Mi-ran angry. She thought Won-soo was acting without her approval. At the hotel where Won-soo held a press conference, she met a boy named Jun-hee and his mother, Jung Tae-ra, who used to be Won-soo's secretary. They were invited to the fundraising party Won-soo was hosting that night. Seeing Jun-hee reminded Won-soo of her son, Chan-hee, who was the same age as Jun-hee. Sadly, Chan-hee had died in a traffic accident. That evening, when Won-soo and Yongguk were heading to the party, Kyungju introduced Do-yoon as Won-soo's new bodyguard because Do-yoon had saved her before. Kyungju mentioned that Do-yoon was a former senior police officer now on holiday in Manila. Won-soo was surprised to see Do-yoon again. At that time, Yongguk promised to reward Do-yoon for his help and then took his wife into the party. Switching to Won-soo's past, when she was a child, she lived a tough life. She and her older brother, Hyun-soo, were raised by their single mother, Shim Chun-hee, who worked as a golf coach. Turns out, Chun-hee had been treated badly by Miran and was fired due to a misunderstanding. Out of anger, Chun-hee stole little Yongguk's golf club because she wanted to make Won-soo a skilled golf player. As Won-soo grew up, her golf talent became more apparent. Chun-hee was determined to send Won-soo to America for an athlete's ability test, using all her savings and help from the Wayne Group's foundation. With hard work, Won-soo became a professional golf player and won various tournaments. 12 years later, Won-soo returned to Korea after winning a big golf tournament with great prizes. Sadly, all her prize money had to be used to pay off Chun-hee's gambling debts. This made Won-soo very upset, and she decided to cut ties with Chun-hee. From then on, Won-soo decided to donate her earnings to charity to help others. Back in the present, during the party, Won-soo went up to the podium and introduced Yongguk as the deputy chairman of Wayne Group, a regular donor to the Now Foundation. She also introduced a new donor from the Middle East. Later, as the party continued, Won-soo greeted the guests. Meanwhile, Yongguk secretly signaled Tae-ra to meet him in a hotel room for an affair, as they had been seeing each other for a while. During the party, Jun-hee told Won-soo that his mother was missing. Soon after, Won-soo went to look for Tae-ra and found her in a hotel room with Yongguk. Surprised, Tae-ra and Yongguk quickly fixed their clothes. There, Won-soo calmly told them to be careful since there were many journalists at the party. With shaking hands, Won-soo left the room and returned to the party. Even though she didn't say anything, Do-yoon, who was watching her, understood that something was wrong in her marriage. At the dance event, Won-soo had to dance with Yongguk and act happy in front of everyone to keep up their family's good image, even though she didn't love him at all. From a distance, Tae-ra watched them, feeling jealous because she knew she was just the mistress. After the party, Won-soo went to see Miran to tell her about Yongguk's affair. Miran already knew about her son's behavior and hoped that Won-soo would divorce him soon. But Won-soo surprised Miran by saying she would stay in the Wayne family. She even threatened Miran not to interfere with the Now Foundation, especially since Won-soo had heard that Miran was trying to take money from the foundation without her knowing. This made Miran hate Won-soo even more. That night, with all her problems, Won-soo drank alone at the hotel bar. When a bodyguard came to watch over her, she told him to go home. Feeling lonely, Won-soo remembered when she first met Yongguk. They met as volunteers in Africa. Even though they had only met a few times, Won-soo was impressed by his kindness and his family's support for her career. They grew closer, and when they returned to Korea, Yongguk proposed to Won-soo and asked her to meet Miran. During the meeting, Miran didn't like Won-soo because she came from a poor family and only had an older brother after her mother disappeared. But Miran finally agreed to their marriage because Won-soo had a good public image and was chosen to be a beauty model for one of the Wayne Group's products. Miran even trusted Won-soo to take care of the Wayne family's charity foundation. On the other hand, Won-soo's older brother was asked to lie to her, saying that their mother was abroad. This was to make sure Won-soo wouldn't expect Chun-hee to come to her wedding. Back to the present, even though Won-soo was tired of Miran's attitude, she couldn't leave Wayne Group. From outside the bar, Do-yoon saw Won-soo alone without any protection, so he decided to watch over her until she returned to her hotel room. When Won-soo, who was drunk, saw Do-yoon, she suddenly asked him to stay with her. At that time, Do-yoon felt he had to help her because she almost fell, so he went into her room. Unfortunately, they didn't realize Won-soo's room key had fallen outside, allowing anyone to enter, including Yongguk, who wanted to see her. Luckily, Kyungju arrived first, picked up the key, and told Yongguk that Won-soo was very drunk and needed to rest. In the room, Won-soo tried to get Do-yoon to stay, but he didn't give in to his boss's drunken behavior. The next day, as Won-soo was returning to Seoul, she felt awkward when she saw Do-yoon. She wondered why she had asked such a thing of a bodyguard she had just met. Arriving in Seoul, Kyung-ju took Do-yoon to the Wayne family's mansion because Do-yoon would be hired as Won-soo's personal bodyguard. Shortly after, Kyung-ju showed Do-yoon his work desk and explained his job duties. While looking at a photo of himself with his best friend, Do-yoon mentioned Joo-hyuk's death. Hearing that, Kyung-ju expressed regret, explaining they couldn't investigate since the case happened abroad. A few moments later, a female bodyguard named Lee Jin-kim. After introducing herself, she told Do-yoon that Won-soo wanted to meet him. In the park, Won-soo was thinking about why she stayed with Wayne Group, reflecting on a promise she made to her late father-in-law, Kim Duo, the former leader of Wayne Group. Back in Do-yoon's workroom, he accidentally dropped his photo with Joo-hyuk and discovered a hidden memory card behind it. When Do-yoon checked the memory card, he found a video of Duo's death. This made Do-yoon think that Joo-hyuk was killed because he knew something about Duo's death and left the memory card for him to find. Soon after, Do-yoon quickly went to Won-soo and warned her that someone close to her might be trying to kill her. He admitted that he went to Manila to find out the truth about his friend's death, which he believed was linked to the attack on Won-soo. But there, Won-soo was skeptical of Do-yoon's claims, still thinking the attack was connected to an international mafia network that opposed the Now Foundation's activities. 2 years ago, Do-yoon and Joo-hyuk got a secret mission from Police Commissioner General Byung-ok, and Do-yoon, who was still a police officer, was assigned to be a presidential bodyguard. At that time, Joo-hyuk was ordered to investigate the funds of a rich businessman who often met with the president. Byung-ok told them not to tell anyone about the mission and to report directly to him. But then, Do-yoon found the mission strange but followed orders without question. Later, Joo-hyuk was sent abroad to monitor Chinese gangsters in Manila suspected of running illegal businesses. Joo-hyuk shared information with Do-yoon, revealing he was investigating Duo's death, which was linked to money laundering by the Wayne Group. Unfortunately, Joo-hyuk died in an incident just as Do-yoon arrived in Manila. After Joo-hyuk's death, Do-yoon asked Byung-ok to send him to Manila to investigate, but Byung-ok refused and tried to cover up the case. Frustrated, Do-yoon left the police force. In the present, Do-yoon's protective attitude made Won-soo feel awkward. When Won-soo arrived at the foundation office, her older brother, Hyun-soo, visited her and asked her to keep an eye on Young-min, Young-guk's younger brother, who was interfering too much in Won-soo's business affairs. During their conversation, Won-soo shared her plan to turn the foundation into an international organization to prevent Miran from taking foundation funds without permission. Despite her brother's opposition, Won-soo was determined to proceed because she didn't want to be involved in Wayne Group's money laundering activities. After work, Won-soo went to Taera's house and scolded her for not locking the hotel room while having an affair with Young-guk. Won-soo stressed that she wouldn't risk her reputation for a cheap scandal. Taera then revealed that Joon-hee was actually Young-guk's son. At that moment, Won-soo was shocked to learn that Young-guk had married her to cover up his involvement in a narcotics case, using her good reputation to improve his image. Despite Taera exposing all of Young-guk's secrets, Won-soo remained firm in not divorcing him. When Won-soo got home, Miran called to inform her about the plan to move Joon-hee into the Wayne family house, claiming he had the same rights as Young-guk's son. Disagreeing with Miran's plan, Won-soo asked Young-guk to send Taera and Joon-hee abroad, but Young-guk seemed unable to go against his mother's wishes. That same night, Taera went to see Miran, complaining that Won-soo had threatened her. To find out the truth about Joon-hee's parentage, Miran secretly conducted a DNA test, which confirmed Joon-hee was Young-guk's biological child. After getting the DNA results, Miran decided to take a family photo. On the day of the photo shoot, Won-soo was surprised to see Joon-hee and Taera participating. Taera tried to get attention from Young-guk, which annoyed Won-soo, leading her to leave the photo shoot. This led to another argument between Won-soo and Miran about the family photo. Despite her objections, Won-soo couldn't do much as Miran insisted on bringing Joon-hee home to replace Chan-hee, who had died 5 years ago. Miran even pressured Won-soo to have children if she wanted Joon-hee and Taera to leave. Won-soo was frustrated because she had never shared a bed with Young-guk. The next day, Won-soo was surprised to see Joon-hee moving into the house and taking over Chan-hee's room. She felt very sad when she saw her late son's belongings being moved to the storage. To calm herself, she decided to drive alone but almost got hit by a truck as she was leaving the house gate. Seeing this, Do-yoon quickly followed and got into her car, insisting he would stay with her even though she refused. A few hours later, they arrived at a beach where Won-soo could relax. Do-yoon wiped the sand off her feet with a handkerchief, which touched Won-soo. There, she told Do-yoon that she usually didn't trust people easily but would trust him if he could find evidence linking Joo-hyuk's death to the attack on her. After walking on the beach for a while, Do-yoon took Won-soo to his private villa outside the city. Won-soo was surprised to see Jungkook there. He said he knew she liked to come to the villa when she had problems. While serving drinks, Jungkook mentioned wanting another child. But when Won-soo remained cold and distant, he got angry and tried to force himself on her. On the other hand, Do-yoon, seeing the commotion from outside, rushed in to separate them. Frustrated, Won-soo asked Do-yoon to take her away, making Jungkook realize she no longer loved him. During the drive, Won-soo stayed silent without saying where she wanted to go, so Do-yoon decided to take her back to the Wayne family's house. The next day, as usual, Soo-jung went over Won-soo's schedule with her. During their chat, Won-soo found out that her husband didn't come home all night and went to his apartment early in the morning. Meanwhile, Do-yoon and Lee-jin were at the Wayne Company's office to check out the security system and surveillance camera control room that monitors the entire headquarters and its branches. Do-yoon also met Kyung-ju, who introduced him to the other bodyguards. During this time, Do-yoon showed off his martial arts skills by sparring with the toughest bodyguard and winning. After the sparring practice, Do-yoon talked with Kyung-ju about Duo's death and asked about Won-soo's son. Upon hearing that, Kyung-ju looked uncomfortable and told Do-yoon to read the news for details, explaining that Duo died of a heart attack at his private home. Taking Kyung-ju's advice, Do-yoon met with a Wayne family security officer and asked for surveillance camera footage to get familiar with his job. Unfortunately, the footage didn't reveal anything new about Duo's death. Do-yoon then re-examined the recording Joo-hyuk left him and realized that Duo didn't die at the Wayne family's mansion. This made him more suspicious that Duo was murdered by someone Joo-hyuk knew, and that Joo-hyuk was killed to cover it up. Shortly after, Do-yoon, who was becoming more curious about who killed Duo, secretly sneaked into the room of the butler, Bayon Kokbun. She had worked for the Wayne family for a long time and might have clues about Duo's death. Do-yoon didn't expect to find a secret room for monitoring the surveillance cameras. Then, he quickly copied all the surveillance footage data but was caught by Lee-jin. There, Do-yoon made an excuse that he was looking for the butler to ask something. Lee-jin was suspicious but didn't argue further and told Do-yoon that Jungkook wanted to meet him. Soon after, Do-yoon went to Jungkook's room, where Jungkook warned him about interfering in his personal matters. Do-yoon explained that it was his duty to ensure that Jungkook and Won-soo didn't hurt each other. That night, Do-yoon checked all the surveillance footage he got from Kokbun's room. After watching it all night, he found a clue showing Kyung-ju being ordered by Jungkook to take a bag of money somewhere. On another day, Miran called Han Sang-il, the legal representative of Wayne Group, to discuss appointing Youngmin as the new head of the Now Foundation. At that time, Miran planned to force Won-soo to resign voluntarily. When Won-soo heard Miran's plan, she felt that her in-laws had gone too far. So, she asked Hyun-soo to help spread rumors about Jungkook's affair and his 10-year-old illegitimate son. Hyun-soo was surprised by this request, considering Won-soo had no intention of divorcing Jungkook to keep the Now Foundation intact. Soon after, these rumors hit the media, making Miran furious. Jungkook was also annoyed because he had to avoid journalists waiting for him outside Wayne's company office. Meanwhile, many journalists approached Won-soo, asking about the rumors. Won-soo, who had planned everything, stayed calm, ignored the questions, and went into her office. With everyone talking about the rumors, Tae-ra felt empowered. She and her mother, Soryun, went to the foundation office, urging Won-soo to do an interview so Tae-ra could be seen as part of the Wayne family. Tae-ra even boldly entered Miran's office during a meeting about the rumors. And Sang-il, the legal representative, admitted that he hadn't found out who spread the rumors, which caused Wayne Group's stock prices to drop. Investors were worried that Won-soo and Jungkook might divorce. Miran finally asked Won-soo to stay home until the rumors died down. The next day, Won-soo pretended she had a meeting with a minister to get permission to leave the house. After tricking Miran and Lee-jin, she asked Do-yoon to accompany her to a secret press conference to address the rumors about her husband. During the press conference, Won-soo denied all the rumors and claimed that the 10-year-old boy, Jun-hee, living at the Wayne family house, was actually Duo's son from an affair. She said this so journalists couldn't verify this story since Duo had died. At home, Miran watched the press conference and was furious. Although it helped cover up Jungkook's affair, she felt humiliated. When Won-soo returned home, Miran confronted her. Won-soo argued that her actions were a solution to cover up Jungkook's affair. She warned Miran that she wouldn't stay silent if Miran continued to push her out of the foundation, reminding her that Won-soo knew many of her secrets. At the same time, Tae-ra was annoyed by the press conference, which made her look like the mistress of a 70-year-old man. Meanwhile, Do-yoon was reprimanded by Kyung-ju for not reporting Won-soo's planned press conference, which should have been closely guarded. Sometime later, Tae-ra and Jun-hee moved into the Wayne family house, making the bodyguards and servants even busier. When Won-soo showed Tae-ra and Jun-hee their room, Tae-ra felt annoyed because Won-soo called her Jungkook's mistress. Won-soo also warned Tae-ra not to show herself too much in front of her. Early the next morning, Do-yoon escorted Won-soo while she went jogging. She complained about her life since Tae-ra and Jun-hee arrived. Do-yoon wondered why Won-soo chose to stay and hide her husband's scandal. Won-soo then shared a memory of the late Duo, asking her to do a hand scan to confirm her identity for banking access. Duo said that Won-soo would understand his reasons someday. He also begged Won-soo, who had just lost her only son, to stay with Wayne Group. Because of this, she was determined to keep her promise to Duo. Hearing Won-soo mention Duo, Do-yoon finally told her about Duo's death, revealing that he didn't die in the main house and that Mr. L, who attacked Ju-hyuk and Won-soo, was involved in Duo's death. Later that morning, Won-soo met Yeomin's wife, Seo Ji-yeon, to give her some wine that Miran had sent and to invite her to the Wayne family dinner. Even though they were both in-laws in the Wayne family, Won-soo and Ji-yeon didn't get along well. A few moments later, Won-soo attended dinner with the Wayne family. She felt pressured because she failed to secure connections from China for Miran's cosmetics business. After the event, Miran expressed her disappointment, calling Won-soo unreliable. Won-soo then offered to secure the Chinese deal if Miran would give her control of the foundation. Hearing that, Miran was silent, unable to fully commit to giving the foundation to Won-soo. On another day, Won-soo and Miran attended the opening of a welfare center, both coincidentally wearing matching clothes. Photos of them together became popular online, with many people saying Won-soo seemed better suited to lead the foundation. At another time, Miran, who has a black belt in judo, was training with the bodyguards. She defeated many of them. When it was Do-yoon's turn, he used his skills to fight Miran and even managed to slam her. This made Miran start to respect Do-yoon. One night, Miran finally told Won-soo about Chun-hee, who had been hidden from Won-soo for 10 years. Miran admitted to sending Chun-hee to a mental hospital to avoid embarrassing the Wayne family. Since Chun-hee's condition was now critical, Miran informed Won-soo, so she and Hyun-soo could visit Chun-hee immediately. After learning this, Won-soo and her older brother were taken by Do-yoon to a mental hospital in a remote area managed by the Wayne family. When they arrived, Won-soo was shocked to see the hospital looked like a prison. Inside Chun-hee's room, Won-soo saw her helpless mother, bringing back memories of her teenage years. In the past, Won-soo had to face debt collectors to protect her mother. Often, she was hit by the collectors who came almost every day when Hyun-soo was not at home. Back in the present, Chun-hee no longer recognized her daughter and kept babbling about wanting to apologize for using Won-soo's money to gamble. Soon after, Chun-hee's condition worsened, and she passed away. Still grieving, Won-soo returned home to meet Miran. Despite knowing that Chun-hee had just died, Miran forbade her daughter-in-law from attending the funeral because they had a business meeting with the Chinese embassy the next day. Miran warned that if Won-soo missed the meeting, Wayne Group would lose billions of dollars, and she would make sure that Won-soo and Hyun-soo suffered as a result. The next day, with a heavy heart, Won-soo followed her mother-in-law's orders and met with representatives of the Chinese embassy. She left the arrangements for Chun-hee's funeral to Hyun-soo. After the meeting, Won-soo secretly took her late mother's ashes somewhere, accompanied by Do-yoon. To avoid suspicion, she turned off the GPS in her car and asked Do-yoon to take her to her childhood home. Seeing how sad Won-soo was, Do-yoon let her lean on his shoulder for comfort. Meanwhile, Jungkook panicked when he found out the GPS in his wife's car was turned off. He ordered his men to find Won-soo, who was at the beach, scattering her mother's ashes into the sea. In her sadness, Won-soo forgave her mother's mistakes but couldn't forgive Miran for locking up Chun-hee for 10 years. And Miran, who had spies following Won-soo, found out where she was and received a photo of Won-soo leaning on Do-yoon's shoulder. That evening, when Won-soo returned home, she was greeted by Young-guk's anger. He beat up Do-yoon and told him to quit his job. Later, Won-soo went to see Do-yoon to check on him after the beating. Unexpectedly, Do-yoon confessed his feelings for Won-soo and asked her to leave the Wayne family to stop hurting herself. Instead of accepting his love, Won-soo asked Do-yoon to be her trusted confidant, helping her uncover the person who wanted to kill her. In her room, Miran scolded Young-guk for acting rashly by beating Do-yoon. She expressed her disappointment in his jealousy, reminding him that he often cheated on Won-soo. Because of this, Miran told Young-guk not to fire Do-yoon. They also discussed Tae-ra living with them, which made Young-guk consider divorcing Won-soo. Miran forbade this to protect Young-guk's inheritance rights and to keep their dirty secrets hidden. She even planned to kill anyone who tried to reveal their secrets. One night, Do-yoon went to a nightclub to meet the gangster leader, but the leader refused to see him and asked him to leave. After Do-yoon left, a gangster boss named Hyun-won contacted Kyung-ju to report that a mysterious man was looking for him. When Kyung-ju checked the surveillance footage, he was surprised to see it was Do-yoon. The next day, Kyung-ju called Do-yoon to his room and asked why he was looking for Hyun-won. Instead of answering, Do-yoon accused Hyun-won of being hired to kill Ju-hyuk. He also suspected Kyung-ju was involved in Ju-hyuk's death, especially since he had seen Kyung-ju handing over bags of money to the gangsters. Do-yoon also suspected Young-guk might be involved. Kyung-ju tried to defend himself, saying he was only ordered to do money laundering in various countries. He explained that Duo died after having sexual relations with a woman at her house. To cover up this disgrace, the Wayne family secretly moved Duo's body to their house and then announced that Duo died of a heart attack. On that occasion, Kyung-ju reminded Do-yoon not to push too far because he couldn't accept Ju-hyuk's death. If Do-yoon kept behaving this way, Kyung-ju suggested he write a resignation letter. Despite Kyung-ju's explanation, Do-yoon didn't believe everything and said he would still uncover the truth about Ju-hyuk's death, even if it meant going against his boss. That night, Won-soo and Do-yoon met in the kitchen. There, Do-yoon reported Kyung-ju's confession about Duo's death. Sensing something was still off, Won-soo asked Do-yoon to investigate Sang-il, Miran's accomplice and the person managing the foundation's funds. Another day, Won-soo was scheduled to visit a foundation outside the city. After the visit, her car was suddenly attacked by a drone. Do-yoon, who was driving, managed to avoid several shots, but the drone shot at the car, causing it to explode and throw Do-yoon, Won-soo, and another bodyguard unconscious. In a semi-conscious state, Do-yoon saw a motorbike rider, who looked like one of the Wayne family's bodyguards, stop next to the car to check if the target was dead. After the rider left, Do-yoon tried to pull the unconscious Won-soo from the back seat. He managed to get her out before the car exploded again, but he suffered injuries from the debris. A few moments later, an ambulance arrived to evacuate all the victims. Among the three, Won-soo only had minor injuries, while Do-yoon and the other bodyguard had serious injuries and needed surgery. When Won-soo was transferred to the treatment room, Young-guk stayed by her side, worried about her condition. He was surprised that Won-soo only had minor injuries and thought she was saved by her bodyguards. After surgery on his back, Do-yoon was moved to the ward, still unconscious. Then, a bodyguard named So-dum sneaked into Do-yoon's room to harm him, but her attempt failed when Young-guk entered to check on Do-yoon. Shortly after, So-dum left the hospital and called someone to report that they had failed to execute Do-yoon. The next day, news of Won-soo's attack was the main topic in major media outlets. Some suspected that the attack was by a terrorist gang that had been targeting Won-soo since her time in Manila. However, the family spokesperson said they couldn't provide information yet because they were waiting for the victims to recover. At home, Miran received a visit from Byung-ok. She expressed her disappointment with the Korean government's security and asked the police to arrest the attacker immediately. Strangely, when Byung-ok met with Sang-il, Miran's right-hand man, Sang-il secretly asked Byung-ok to stop investigating the attack on Won-soo because it could affect the company's stock stability. At the same time, Young-guk ordered Kyung-ju to give some money to the gangsters. This was the second time Young-guk had spent a large amount of company funds, believed to come from tactical funds he had created. Shortly after, Sang-il reported this to Miran. From Kyungju's information, Sang-il learned that Yongguk's tactical funds reached 1 billion won, divided into 100 different accounts. However, Miran didn't mind and thought her son needed the money. Instead, she asked Sang-il to persuade the president of Cosmo Cosmetics to accept an investment offer from Wayne Group. That evening, Yongguk accidentally saw Miran meeting Sang-il secretly. Yongguk had known about his mother's special relationship with Sang-il since he was a child and once caught them together. Worse, Duo also knew about their affair. Meanwhile, Do-yoon, who had recovered, met with Kyungju to force him to reveal information about the deaths of Ju-hyuk and Duo. At that time, Do-yoon still suspected Kyungju was involved. Under pressure, Kyungju finally admitted Do-yoon's accusations and told him that the perpetrator was targeting the Now Foundation, which now stored tactical funds. Later, Won-soo asked Do-yoon to secretly take the tactical fund book from Sang-il's pavilion. Without wasting time, Do-yoon went to the pavilion and saw Sang-il returning from playing golf. Since Sang-il's personal space was locked, Do-yoon used Sang-il's fingerprint, which he had duplicated from Sang-il's drinking glass. With his cleverness, Do-yoon managed to enter Sang-il's room and looked for the tactical book he needed. He didn't realize that So-dum, the guard at the pavilion, saw him. Just as So-dum was about to report to Sang-il, Sang-il entered the now empty room because Do-yoon had already left with a fake tactical fund book. Turns out, the real book was kept in Sang-il's safe. At the end of the series, Do-yoon meets with Won-soo and Hyun-soo to hand over the tactical fund book. While they are discussing who should open it, the prosecutor's team arrives with a search warrant for Won-soo's office. They also arrest Hyun-soo, who is suspected of embezzling company funds. The series ends. The moral lesson from this series is never trust anyone who makes you fake fund books or lets you lean on their shoulder after an explosion, cause they'll just get you tangled up with the law. And always check your car for hidden GPS trackers.